Hey everybody, Zach Bennetson here with another Airtable CRM demo. Today talking about workflows and task templates. Now when I think about creating workflows, I have two goals in mind. One is to create a repeatable process that I can do for internal or external client tasks in a way that will allow me to make sure things don't slip through the cracks, right? Catch any of those things, do the whole checklist manifesto style thing. The other is to create something that's not so rigid that I'm creating a bunch of tasks for myself that I'm going to either have to close as NA or push around a lot because the system is too far away from the way I do work in reality. The goal here is to create something that mimics your way of working, not to force you to follow the task template in an unnatural way. With that said, let's dig into how you can build templates and workflows in Airtable. The first thing to do is from the data layer side, I can click over to the Tools tab and open the Record Templates tool. You can see here I have a couple different record templates already created. One lives on this projects database, the other lives on a tasks base. Now, in this build, projects is a way for me to basically group multiple tasks together into a long-form project, and tasks are essentially atomic units of work to be done that can exist just in relationship to a household without an overarching project kind of sitting over them. If I go ahead and open the new client onboarding project, which I'll point out now is an example, just for kind of illustrative purposes here, this is not meant to be a comprehensive client onboarding workflow right now. We can see here I'm creating a bunch of tasks automatically, which I'll come back to in a moment. The first thing I want to point out is that a couple different fields that belong to the project themselves will be filled out automatically when I run this template. First, the project will be assigned to the person who runs the template itself. The status will be set to not started. The date of the project will be set to the day you run this task template, and the project duration will be set to 30 days by default. Now, all of those will be editable once you've run the project, and those are just going to fill in automatically. But we can get some structure added already by running the template. The core piece, the more important piece here, are the records that are created on the tasks page. These records will be automatically synced back with the household that you're running this project on. And we can go ahead and open them and see I have one called Send Onboarding Compliance Docs. It has a list of some of the sample docs you might be sending to your client. It's again assigned to the current user in this case. This could be one where you assign it automatically to the CSA, right, where you keep some of the other tasks for yourself as the planner. The status is set to not started. There's some task tags added automatically for things like onboarding and paperwork. So if I were looking at this from a task view, I could do some filtering on these tags. The start date is set to the same day that you're running this project. If you wanted something to show up afterwards, you could have this be something like task start date 5 days after the project itself is run. The duration is set to 1 day, and the due date will be set as a function of the duration you set here. We can go through and see I have a couple of these different ones in here, right? Here's a send investment policy statement. Here is a schedule team sync about the initial plan. Here's one reminder to schedule the initial planning meeting itself, right? You might have another template, another automation in here to send that email to the client. And then another here that says, if applicable, run the account opening template on the task page. Now, rather than basically folding the account opening template into the onboarding template, I have them split out in this way where it requires an advisor manual step because you as the advisor really do know better when this is going to be appropriate to run. What I don't want to happen is for a bunch of tasks to be created in the system and basically create visual clutter or confusion on when something is actually applicable. And so in this build, you would go run that separately rather than it being a kind of cascading automatic workflow. That's what it looks like on the building side. Let's click over to the interfaces side to see how you would actually use this in your day-to-day work. We're here on a projects dashboard that's blank right now as nothing has been run yet. I'll go ahead and click the Add Project button in the top right and see that I can select from templates and I can run this new client onboarding template. I'll go ahead and assign this to a household and I'll assign it to a prospect I have in the pipeline. If I click Create here, we'll see that the project is automatically here, and that we have all of those tasks that I just showed you automatically created, synced to the household with the due dates set due to the durations that we've created, right? If I go ahead and click this to done and close this, I can see I have a handy way to quickly check how many tasks there are total on this project and how many have been completed. If I close this, you can also see a nice little bar to track percentage-wise how complete this project is. I'll go ahead and open that back up, change this back to not started, and then go over to a view where I'm looking at this from the task side rather than the project side. Now, this is important because one of the key functions of Airtable is that it's a relational database where you can enter your work from basically any side of those relationships. What that means is you could never look at that project again if you don't want to, but you would still see the task that you created as part of the task, either right when you're sorted for just looking at Markstrom, if you're looking at all the tasks that are tagged as onboarding on the filter, or right if you're looking at maybe the Markstrom homepage that you've built out as well. Those tasks live all anywhere in the system, and you can enter it from any part of that equation. Now I can see here, right, we have all of those tasks. I can see, again, I have that if applicable run the account opening template. I'll go ahead and do that now. I have another button to add a task, and I can click account opening here. That will be created automatically. The only thing I need to do is just make sure I assign it to the household itself. That's now created, so I can go ahead and just edit the status for the run account opening template, close that one as I now have the full task for that. And so that's today's demo, just again, a quick way to build templates and workflows into your systems. If you have questions about this or any other ways you'd like to creatively use Airtable for your firm, feel free to reach out. Happy to chat.